meeting to order, please. Would you do the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's have the approval of the minutes of the March 22nd, 2016 regular meeting. So moved. Mr. Wilkerson?
Second that.
Second by Mr. Baker. All yes?
Yes.
Okay. Bill, anyone sign in on this? Okay. Public comments, we don't have any on the agenda, so we'll move right on down to the administrative section. We can have a motion.
I move.
Carol made the motions. Fred second. Okay, Jen?
Item A is out-of-county student transfer for the 2016-2017 school year. Item B, school volunteers who on occasion may also serve as bus chaperones for athletic events, academic competitions, or school outings and have completed volunteer orientation. Item C is the adoption of a new job description for Director of Maintenance and Safety. I'll just mention that position is posted currently. Posting comes down at 4 p.m. tomorrow. We do have several applicants for that position at this point. Mr. Linville and his interview committee will look at those applications, resumes, and make a decision as to who will get interviewed. The interview's been scheduled for April the 18th. And I hope to be able to come to you with a recommendation for that position at the April 26th board meeting.
Have, I know it's preliminary, but have any of the applicants so far had the qualifications we were looking for, had all the qualifications we were looking for? Good. Good.
Item D, the following textbooks as recommended by the Textbook Adoption Committee, presented for public review and comment through May the 3rd, 2016. Textbooks are available for inspection in the county office as well as directions to view online versions. I've asked Mr. Pritchard to be here this evening to just give you a brief overview of the process and answer any questions you may have.
Nice to have you here tonight, Kevin.
Thank you. Can't think of any place I'd rather be.
Except camp, right?
Maybe camp.
Under the right
With Jeff. Camper.
Well, this adoption that's there on the agenda tonight, this will be for start in the fall of 16 and go through 22, 6-year adoption. And what's actually on there this for adoption this time is science, art, and music. Okay, the process, of course, started back December into January, where I actually had principals to select a teacher or two from their buildings to serve on this, depending on the curriculum area. And actually, some were able to attend a textbook caravan that's put on by RESA in January. However, that was one of our snow days that went on, so we didn't get as many there as we normally do. But what we're able to do is bring them back together here in the county. Of course, a lot of those textbook reps would make those visits out, bring the samples and so forth. Anyway, as though they went through, they reviewed it themselves, shared it with other teachers there in their building, and then came back, brought them back in late March, and let that group bring their recommendations from the buildings back. They sit down, come up with some options, and basically those options are what's on the agenda tonight. That was the recommendations from that committee for each of those areas. Just a little different with a few of these. Number one, there's not as many companies out there anymore, not like there once was. All the big ones have either gobbled the other ones up or they just simply went out of business. And there was a few I guess, smaller, not smaller companies necessarily, but got into the West Virginia market this time that weren't necessarily there in past adoptions. Although, as we were talking earlier, the adoptions themselves have been very regular. Just kind of the last couple of years, we kind of got started back with that. The state had everything on hold for instance, this science adoption, the book we're currently using is 10+ years since it has been adopted. So,
And that's just because the state has put that adoption cycle on?
correct. And most of that was put off in order to put the money into the technology, to make those upgrades in the buildings so that, because what's happening with these adoptions, they're becoming more and more digital resources. So I guess as they looked at it, some of that funding that was normally set aside for textbooks was then put in to try to get the infrastructure basically built up within the counties and the buildings. And I will say that ours is, talking with other counties, we're at the top, or if not above the line.
In terms of technology.
Yes, the technology and the infrastructure to be able to have wireless in the classrooms, within the buildings. We're right at or near the top, I think, on that. That's what Mr. David tells me anyway.
And when they do that, do students have accessibility to that from their homes?
They do, yes. Actually, the last couple of adoptions that we made, social studies and then language arts was last year. That's the three and this would be the three I've really been involved in. They've kind of, the textbook companies, I guess, could see this coming. So what they've offered basically, a lot of times, is a text along with a digital copy. And they price it in such a way that you really can't lose by buying both rather than just buying one or the other. However, I guess that was to get you hooked, and now as they move along, I see those actual written hard textbooks kind of fading away. And I know within this adoption here, science, the elementary one is it's a little different. It's more of a kit type, the false kits. I don't know if anybody's familiar with those. I know a lot of our teachers were and have been trained in those in the past, and they really like that. But it's, again, not the traditional textbook necessarily. There's lots of materials lots of hands-on materials, I guess is. And again, with the science, I think that's a big part of it. 50% of it within the science curriculum is supposed to be hands-on now anyway. So that's, the elementary teachers really seem to like this one. The middle school and the e-science, that is totally a digital adoption. Again, teachers, as they reviewed it, the rep came in a couple different times. Teachers were real impressed with it. One of the things they liked with it, you can change the Lexile level for individual students. So, and that's actually the reading level, what they comprehend. And the program itself will actually test them up front, the very first time they go in, sets that Lexile level so that all the information, they're still getting the same content, but just written at a different level. Real neat program, what I've observed of. Now, the secondary one is still more of a traditional with the books. Now, there is a digital component with probably all of these books, but they still have the hard copy within these companies, most of them, which seems a little different. You would think it'd probably go the opposite way, that you'd have the hard copies more for middle school or elementary, but for some reason, and this may be because if you look even at the collegiate level, they're still using the hard copy books. And as you move that direction, they're still pretty ingrained in that. I bought several of them over the past few years.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I can see all of that probably changing. The art and music, it is basically a digital adoption. There's just some resources with that, but for the most part it is, I know the one with Davis Publications that's one up through 8th grade, it's totally online digital. Of course, they're making that couple of advantages, I guess, from our standpoint. You don't have the replacement cost of replacing textbooks each year. You know, and I thought, especially with the science books were real expensive anyway. And as you move through that, you know, you won't have that, if they are digital, you won't have the replacement costs necessarily.
Lost book.
Yeah, you know, you may have to buy a few extra licenses if you have a population, hopefully enrollment goes up and you have to buy a few licenses. But otherwise, basically, once you buy that first 6-year subscription, as they call it a lot of times, then you're good to go for 6 years on it.
And I would imagine, don't tell me if I'm wrong, that from year to year, the content of the program will change as technology and knowledge changes. So you're not stuck with 6-year-old materials in year 6. You're getting current state-of-the-art knowledge every year.
One of the things, and I know with the e-science was one of them that I talked to the rep quite a bit about. As you know, our science standards in West Virginia have been approved, disapproved, and we kind of asked that question of these reps, you know, what happens, you know, if we buy this and all of a sudden this fall the standards change for whatever reason, state board or legislature and you know, she assured us that those would be updated as whatever our standards were, they would be updated to meet that. Which is going along with what you're saying there. It makes that, it's a lot easier to go in for, I guess, for a programmer and go in and do that than it is to write a new textbook and get it out.
Well, especially like Brad said, we've been behind in the cycle anyway. You know,
Yes.
they keep putting you off. I mean, optimistically, you would hope that 6 years from now, you're gonna get another
Yeah.
chance, but maybe not.
Yeah.
So at least you could adapt better.
Well, you're right. Any other questions?
I just,
Answer on that?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just gonna point out, and I think you've hit this in describing the way each of the individual texts was selected, but for the 10th through the AP science materials, they're from a variety of different companies.
Yes.
And I wonder, just from a consistency standpoint, did, say, the 10th, 11th, and the senior teachers get together to comprehensively discuss teaching these subjects with these different texts? Or I guess a short way to ask the question is, do these texts dovetail with each other as you go from your 10th grade biology into 11th grade chemistry and physical science? Those are all three of those are different publishers. So I just wonder, I mean, I know that biology doesn't necessarily prepare you for chemistry or physical science, but I assume that the teachers looked at these on a beyond grade level to determine that they're all consistent in terms of moving you from one area to the other.
That, of course, actually the science department there at the high school, which is made it a little better in adoption wise because they have the opportunity to get together daily if they need to be. And they spend a lot of time on these. To the exact process they use to look at that, I couldn't say for sure. But I would assume they would do that. The other thing that you mentioned on that, some of these companies don't offer a book in each of these areas. And it is kind of odd, you know, Mr. Priestley and I were talking just the other day about this when he was representing the whole state on that part of it through the state. These companies have become so limited and so spread out, I guess, that now you may have one company and they just concentrate on doing that one particular textbook. So that, I'm not sure that that's a total reason for that, but that's a very good possibility within that because of the fact that all of them don't offer that same. You don't have the Hoot Mifflin, McGraw-Hill, Pearson, all those, the big ones that were always there. They're kind of, and like I said, even some of those big ones didn't offer books at particular subject areas.
I thought that might be one of the possibilities. It just, I mean, for informational purposes, it's still the same process that there's a state group that kind of identifies the ones that
Yes.
we may choose from, right?
Correct, that is correct, yeah.
So they
That
kinda get
list, the multiples list
Right.
that is put out by the State Department, those are reviewed a year ahead of time. Those companies make that bid, I guess, make their submission, that group from the state level then narrows that down, and that's what's provided to the counties, that they have the option of selecting from.
So we will only choose from the selected
Correct.
ones that meet the state criteria.
That is correct. Yeah, there would be nothing on this list that hasn't already passed their, and again, because the numbers being so low anyway, I'm not sure how many was actually submitted that weren't selected. I don't have those numbers, but.
Maybe you had one box to check for one particular area.
Well, I know in the past, they had to meet a certain percentage of the standards.
Correct.
Is
Yes.
it still like
Yeah,
90%?
I think it is, yes. You can actually, on the state website, you can actually still, those are accessible to the public, but you can go on and even look at those reviews of each textbook, what that committee said about it.
And that's, when I was on there for 5 years, but we would get every my house was inundated with textbooks. It's been great to have e-books back then, but we'd get them from everybody there was. I mean, they just was there constantly. And then, you met as a group for a couple of weeks. We'd meet in Charleston, and we'd go through each one of them. And we developed our criteria that we were looking for, and then we look at each one and see if they met or did not meet that. I was on there right after the textbook controversy, so I think we're really kind of sensitive, and we were sensitive to things. And but it's the same process,
Yeah.
but it's evolved, thankfully, here.
Yeah, like I said, I think I just read something recently where they had put out for next year already invitations to bid from those companies. So they're starting that process now to look for what will be on the adoption next year. Obviously, I'm not sure what's going to be there, for sure.
I'm glad that they're allowing it where they can be modified, but it's probably still the same. Most textbooks are they kind of go towards Texas and California, these big states, and they kind of dictate what the textbook's going to be. So you're just kind of left to kind of go
Whatever,
with that.
they put a new cover on it and say it's a West Virginia version.
But now with this, they can modify those for
Yeah.
virtually anywhere.
And the cost, I'm assuming I'm not on the technology end, but I'm sure that's a lot less than going out and printing 100,000
Yeah.
textbooks. One person. Once they do it, then it broadcasts to everybody out there, which makes it a whole lot easier.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, thanks, guys, appreciate it.
So we have one last administrative item, item E. Southern West Virginia Community and Technical College student Jennifer U. Lawrence performed an observation at New Baltimore K-8 in elementary education during the spring semester.
Anybody have any questions on any of the items on administrative? All over the desk, and talk about the job description for the maintenance director, and next week we'll proceed on that. We're in good shape. Okay, nothing else on our call for questions. Then all yes vote on administrative item? Yes. All right, finance, motion please. Rowdy? Second by Fred. Okay, Bill?
Item A, scheduled invoices totaling $213,312.36. Attachment, invoices available for public review at the county office. Item B, monthly financial statement for February 2016, attachment.
I have any issues with any of those questions? Nothing additional. Okay, if nothing more, then we'll go call for question on that. Was that an all yes on the finance item?
Yeah.
Hey, personnel, motion please.
I'll move.
Carol made the motion.
Second.
Mr. Wilkerson seconded. I can feel it.
Well, you have a long list tonight, so. Okay, first is employment of short, long-term substitute professional personnel. Next is the employment of short and long-term substitute personnel for school year 2016-17. That's retired teachers. The next one is employment of short-term substitute professional, short and long-term substitute professional personnel for school year 16-17 certified. The next one is employment of short, long-term substitute professional personnel pending renewal certification for school year 16-17, certified. The next one is employment of short, long-term substitute professional personnel for school year 2016-17. That's short-term subs, long-term subs. Those are what we call our RESA subs that have a degree and have to go through additional training. Next, we have employment of short, long-term substitute professional personnel pending the renewal certification for school year 16-17. Those are RESA subs also, what we call RESA subs. Next is reemployment of professional personnel to be issued a probationary contract for school year 2016-17. Next is reemployment of professional personnel pending the renewal of certification to be issued a probationary contract for school year 2016-17. There's one typo there, Melissa Turley in the second column, the top name, it should say math instead of science. Melissa Turley, Hart's math instead of science. And the next one, reemployment of professional personnel to be issued a continuing contract for school year 2016-17. Next is reemployment of professional personnel pending renewal of certification be issued a continuing contract for school year 2016-17. Reemployment of service personnel to be issued probationary contract for school year 2016-17. Reemployment of service personnel to be issued a continuing contract for school year 2016-17. Next page is employment of substitute service personnel for school year 2016-17. And then on the last page, item A, employment of extracurricular athletic personnel. Item B, leave of absence. C, resignations/retirements. And also abolish extracurricular athletic posting, that's assistant basketball coach at Lincoln County High School. That will be reposted at a later date.
Okay. That is, anybody have anything to take for Mr. Lamble? Bill, will this, how, after we acted on this, will we be kind of pretty well set for next year?
Yes, right now, we have a posting that just come down. After this posting, going into next school year, we'll be short a science teacher at Duval, a math teacher at Duval, and 2 special ed teachers at Lincoln County High School.
That would be the only vacancies?
That'll be the only vacancies after this next posting.
All right, is it this Friday that you were going over to Boone County?
We're going to Boone County. They have about 50 teachers that are looking for jobs, and I talked to the guy that's taking care of it over there. It's actually the president of their education association set up the job fair. And he said they had some science teachers and some special ed teachers, so we're hoping we can find qualified people. We really, unless something really happens, we're hoping to start next school year fully. Everybody certified, or people that's on a first-class permit, that's been working on a permit for a year or two, that's close to certification.
I guess if there's any bright spot about all the decline in enrollment in southern West Virginia, that might be it. It's not very, it's a slight glimmer.
Well, Jim and I talked about, unless some of these people leave the state looking for jobs, that's what we're afraid of. The husbands leave or the wives leave, and take them with them.
Okay, no further questions then. Call for question, having all yes on the personnel items.
Yes.
All yes, okay. All right, we're down to comments and concerns. Board members?
Well, I think you're gonna touch on what I was inquiring about the football field.
You go ahead and make
Okay.
Rick it, and then if not, Rick can come back.
Okay, we'll start there. Received an email last week regarding, some work that American Geotech, I guess they had someone on site over there looking at the site where the football field would, will eventually be, and they've indicated that we're gonna need 6 soil borings, that's what I said, 6 soil borings over there. We have already completed a requisition and a purchase order for American Geotech to come in and do this work. But what that means is that the bid specifications, for us to put that out for advertisement, it's gonna be delayed as a result. So as quickly as we can make this happen, get this, these borings completed, the sooner that we're gonna get those, bid specs.
Well, I thought that unless we disturb a certain amount of dirt or plan to go into areas that were filled, that we were not going to need soil boring.
Well, it was what was indicated to us by Mr. Ferguson when the last conversation he had with the board. He didn't think that we were gonna need, or he didn't believe that we would need any borings over there, but that's not the case. This company's looked at it and has indicated that this has to happen.
Is this one of the companies that is involved in the bidding process, or how did they come to be there?
No, I believe this is a company that they use, as well as the other architectural firms to do these kind of borings. I can check with Mr.
But CMM sent them in to,
Right.
to determine if we needed this done.
Why are they saying we need?
I think a lot of it has to do with there's a lot of fuel over there. That was a concern. Again, I'm getting this through Dana. Dana's the one that's talked to Dave Ferguson. That whatever work's been done over there before, that this company, whoever looked at it, decided that it feels like that these borings need to take place.
We've used that company numerous times, it's probably been hard. I know we've used them over here at the high school when we were building the school.
Do we have any idea of the cost for these 6 borings?
$6,000.
Because, the 3% of the available money we have,
Right.
or had, before we started all this.
Because initially, we thought after Mr. Ferguson was here that the only reason we'd have to have those if we were gonna have a structure or something, right?
Right.
And apparently, they've seen it differently.
Right. So we're waiting, for this work to take place. I'm not really familiar with this, to be honest with you. I wouldn't think that it would take long for them to do a soil boring. So, once Mr. Ferguson has the information, that he can finish up the bid specifications.
Yeah, I noticed it was, we were promised you 2 weeks ago, right?
All right.
Always something.
I received the email the week before spring break, that this was going to be needed.
I don't wanna hold this up any further, but I would like to know why the soil borings are necessary. I want to know what this company looked at and determined that we needed to spend $6,000 of our very small amount of money to do soil borings, when we don't plan to put anything on there other than feed at the time being.
I'll ask. See what I find out for you.
Yeah, and where they're gonna bore them at, actually in the field or on the sidelines, or, well, if it's on the sidelines, we could bore them later when we build the buildings on them.
I mean, it's not that I doubt that there's a reason to do them, but sort of like Fred, I'm wondering, does it have to be done now, given our most optimistic projection for how we're gonna use that over the next 3 to 5 to 7 years?
Well, I'll tell you what they'll come back with, Rowdy, that they need to bore those holes to know what kind of gravel to put in the drainage line. That's what they'll come back with.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that might be a valid point.
Or the surface where the track's gonna be, will require additional whatever, ever, to make it stable. But we'll find that.
I'll find out for you.
Keep finding.
And I'll just send you.
Well, I'm sure they sent ZMM something that said, this is why we need to do the soil boring. It should be something that's already done. I guess it could have been a phone call saying, oh, hey, old buddy Dave, we need to make $6,000 on this job, but we didn't bore 6 holes. So I wanna see something in writing.
We never went like that.
Nothing like that.
My first rodeo.
We'll give you a little bit of.
I've handled a few construction litigation cases in my career.
Well, let's hope you don't have any more.
No, I hope I do. It's
As
not
a
involving
boss.
us. Yeah, not involving us.
Exactly, that's what I
I'm
meant.
pretty involved.
Okay. Carol, did you have any questions about the soil boring?
It's hard to say. Say it 10 times fast.
Okay, all right.
Staying on campus at the high school, I don't know if all board members know this or not, but after Dana had given his presentation at the last board meeting, I think it was the very next day, it could have been that evening even, he inspected the ramp over there at the high school, and we've got some issues again. The ramp leading down from the vocational end down to the soccer field, the same issues we had before. Not as, as extensive, but yet there are problems. So not only with the wheelchair access ramp, but also the stairs themselves that run vertically up and down the hill. So he has contacted Mr. Ferguson, who is in contact with the contractor who did the work. We don't have a response yet. I'm still waiting to get something from Dave Ferguson. But according to Dana, because of what had happened last year and the work that had to be done over this past summer, the project, the stairs, the ramps is still under an extended warranty. So we believe it will be covered, but Mr. Curry has said this before, it's going to be a continuing
Yeah, it's a problem
issue.
that we've inherited. They're just,
They're passionate till
they're
they're
passionate, that's right, just to get through the warranty. There's no way that you can fix it with what they're doing.
I mean, structurally, do you know what's wrong with it structurally, Fred? I mean, how it was built wrong, how it should have been built?
No.
Okay.
The reason it broke the first time, when they put the pipe in the cement, they didn't put a caulking or sealant to keep the water from going in it, and the water went in and froze during the winter. So when the guy came back and fixed it last year, they put an epoxy down in with the pipe to keep the water from going down there and busting it, is what the guy did.
But didn't help, I guess?
In most of the locations it did. There's one section of that, of the
One or
stairs
two,
that's
yeah.
really in bad shape. And some other places where it's starting to chip and break away. A couple of the walls on the ramp itself has got what appears to me to be pretty significant cracks that have come in the walls.
It was near the bottom, because I was looking at that just a few days ago.
Well, Brenda, what was that? That's
The
been.
worst one was, seems like it was like halfway up the
Yeah,
hill.
That's
about
why I'm
halfway up,
halfway
yeah.
up.
But up near the top, it looks great.
We walked
From
the
a
whole
distance,
thing.
it's always looked wonderful.
That's true.
It's an ornamental stairs.
So once I hear something from Dave Ferguson or from this contractor, then I'll pass that information along to you.
Well, let me throw this out there. While this is under warranty, would it behoove us to have Dana or someone hire an independent contractor to determine what they believe are the necessary steps to permanently repair this, not do a patch and fix and get out under warranty? Present that to the contractor that has the warranty obligations and say, this is what we want done or else. You will see us in the circuit court of Lincoln County, Kanawha County, or wherever we decide to file suit. But I mean, if you're the contractor that has a warranty obligation, what are you gonna do? The minimum amount required to make the people that are complaining shut up. We don't know what needs done. Those of us sitting here, Dana probably doesn't know. But it might be worth our while to hire an independent concrete company, someone that knows what they're doing, building these kinds of structures, to assess the problem and say, this is what we would do to fix it permanently.
Well, what bothers me, we did not have a bad winter this past winter. If we'd have had a bad winter, then it's been a lot worse than it is right now. Because like Mr. Plumlee said, I knew the water got down there and froze, but the walls are also cracked. That's probably from settling. And, but the worst part, really, the board did not have any money in that.
Right, it was for the state paid for the, or,
Department of Highway.
yeah.
So more or less, last time this came up, we didn't have a whole lot to say about how they fixed it or anything.
I was gonna ask you on the warranty, like I said, we were given an extended warranty.
Was
So-
it given to us or to the state or to the Department of Highway?
I'm not sure, but would that warranty though, since there's issues, continual issues with the work that was done, would that warranty would it continue to be extended, do you think?
No way to know. I mean, you'd have to look at the terms of the original contract, the deal that was worked out to give the extended warranty. So I bet the extended warranty only covers repairs they've made or areas where they made repair. Probably doesn't go all the way back to cover all the construction, would be my bet. And I'm just guessing. I mean, I've seen this a few times. But there's no obligation to extend a warranty to cover the defects like that beyond the original warranty period. That was something that was done in good faith to say by the contractor, or maybe required by the Department of Highways. We're going to sue you unless you warranty your work. So they gave an extended warranty. Who knows? Who knows how that extended warranty came about? But I can't see that there would be an obligation to extend it unless it's done as a goodwill gesture saying, we'll stand behind our work.
I've heard several people that's looked at it make the comment that they felt like what needed to happen was to tear it all out of it and start over. I mean, you know, not that they're experts or anything, but that's, I've heard that comment made several times.
Pretty sure the contractor's not going to agree to do that under the extended warranty.
I thought the contractor went bankrupt. Well, that's what they told me last year.
Not that I'm aware of, I can ask.
I thought that
Well, I'm sure that was a bonded project, wasn't it?
was good.
Yeah.
I mean, if the original contractor went bankrupt, the surety bond issuer may have paid someone else to fix it and required that they extend the warranty on it.
This is the example of the work I can
I
understand.
thought that was one of the issues we had last time with the contractor went forward.
They may have said that.
Jeff, could we do this? Could Mr. Baker's suggestion there on having an outside independent, could we run that by Mr. Ferguson, go through the architect, and get a cost of what that might cost us to do that? Because I'm still kind of like Fred in a way, I don't know that we're gonna have any authority over it anyway. But if we knew what, you know, if we were to get a independent cost
Well,
analysis.
Okay, sorry, the lawyer in me's coming out, I can't turn it off sometimes. We have an interest.
Well-
We are the third-party beneficiary, and we're the landowner on which those improvements were made. We have an interest. We have an interest upon which a lawsuit could be filed. Maybe not to make a warranty claim, but we have an interest in that. It doesn't matter who paid to have the work done. The Department of Highways doesn't own that. We own it. It's ours.
Well, if we can just get a cost on what that would cost us to get another outsider to, outside company to look at it, so we at least know what we're,
Yeah.
I'll see what I can find out. And I'll
and
let
Dave
you
will
know.
call his friends and say,
Hey, got a chance you make $3,000 or $4,000 here, done a little quick estimate here for me on the side. Go Saturday, we get some golf in.
hey, quit laughing, Carol.
I need to quit being
You-
cynical.
I don't know you were laughing or coughing there. Both, huh? Okay.
Mr. Plumlee's here, I know there's ongoing improvements being made over the soccer field.
Yes.
Dana told me today that the sewer and water, right?
Are in.
That's awesome.
And electric is on site. So if the Lord's willing and the temperatures rise tomorrow, they can put some walls up.
Hey, would you be willing to supervise this fixing of the walk project? I mean, you're telling us things are gonna be get done, and they get done before you tell us they're gonna happen, so.
So no, hopefully by your next board meeting, the walls will be up, doors will be in, and they'll be starting on a ceiling/floor for the upper floor.
There was a request came through today for a door and a
Yes.
frame, I guess Dana working on that.
Yes, you came and saw me and we're waiting on a bid.
Good, good deal. See, Mr. Parisi and I have had a couple of conversations recently about the impending OEPA audit that we'll have next fall. And in the past, as part of that process, OEPA members have interviewed board members, for those of you that served at the time, and will ask questions about the board's involvement in the strategic planning process, the roles and responsibilities of the directors of the central office, and their involvement in the curriculum and instructional piece. And I think it'd be good, Mr. Priestley agreed, actually I think you suggested it, that we have a little work session I'd like to do it at the April 26th afternoon meeting, where my directors are all here, if everyone's amenable to that.
That's our afternoon, that's our 1 o'clock meeting, right?
It's going to be a light agenda.
A light agenda, and then we jump into a work session where I want to share with you our current strategic plan, because we're starting in the process of making some revisions to it right now, to get your input, and that way, as well as you'll have some firsthand knowledge about what goes into
I won't
it.
be here at that meeting.
We can look at a different date. I mean,
Well, whatever is good. There's no urgency about it.
no, there's not. I mean, we can put it off till the next month even if necessary.
I'd like to request that if we could.
Want to look at the last meeting in May?
Okay. All right.
Is that okay?
Yes, that sounds
I think
fine.
that's May
See if
31st.
you're going to be in America.
I don't think I'm gonna be, I think I'll be in Canada that week.
Yeah, we're not even going to go there.
Let me look.
Are you camping?
Well, I will be is a little worse than camping.
Yeah, right.
It's a structure, but my camper's a lot nicer. Let's see, what would that date be? The 20?
I think it's the 31st.
Oh, 31st?
So it's
May 31st? Okay, no, I'll be back. Oh, then I'll be back a week. I don't get eaten by a bear.
Yeah.
Then we won't have to
Well,
worry
that's
about
not
it.
anymore, man.
You're on a roll, see.
Dad said even a blind dog finds an acorn every now and then.
That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Carol, do you have anything to?
No, I don't, Steve.
All right, thank you. Okay, if not, then we'll adjourn until April the 19th, and that's at 6 o'clock, correct? Here at the county office. Okay, motion to adjourn, please.
I'll move.
Mr. Baker,
Second.
second by Mr. Wilkerson. All yes?
Yes.
Get well, Carol.
I'll try.
Feel better. Bye.